There's a moment, right before you fall asleep, right before the world goes quiet, when something inside you wakes up. Not your fear, not your anxiety, something older, something sharper, the part of your mind that turns against you. And if you're here, maybe you've felt it too. Maybe you've lived inside a mind that whispers warnings even in safety, that prepares for abandonment even in love, that practices arguments that will never happen, that convinces you, slowly, subtly, that you are the problem you've been trying to escape. If any part of this feels familiar, stay. But before we go deeper, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel exists for people who've been fighting invisible wars. And what I'm about to show you, you'll want to remember where you found it. Trust me. Subscribe now. Let me show you something most people never realize. Your mind doesn't become your enemy by accident. There's a pattern, a history, a logic beneath the chaos. And here's what nobody tells you. The war inside your head isn't a malfunction. It's a feature. Your mind was designed to protect you. But somewhere along the way, it learned to protect you from the wrong things. From yourself. From rest. From peace. From joy. And now you're here. Tired of fighting. Tired of losing battles you never signed up for. So let me ask you something. When did your mind stop being your ally and become your enemy? Think about it. Really think about it. Because the answer to that question is where your healing begins. Imagine this. You walk into your room. It's dark, but not the frightening kind. Just dark enough that objects lose their names and become shapes again. The lamp hums quietly. The air is soft. Your body exhales before you even notice you were holding tension. You sit down. And then, your thoughts arrive before you do. Not loud. Not violent. Just precise. The memory of something you said wrong. The fear of something you didn't finish. The echo of a mistake that no longer matters. The old instinct that tells you, stay alert. Stay small. Stay ready. As if danger is a shadow waiting behind the wall. This isn't weakness. It's conditioning. And understanding that difference changes everything. Here's what no one told you. Your mind didn't turn against you. Turned toward you. It learned to anticipate pain. Before you even had the language to describe pain. It learned to predict disappointment. Before you understood what hope meant. It learned to monitor danger. Even when danger was subtle, quiet, emotional, or invisible to everyone else. Your mind became a shield, but over time it also became a prison. And that's why it feels like an enemy. Not because it wants to hurt you, but because it still thinks you're in the old war. Think about this. Why is it so hard to relax when things are going well? Why is calm uncomfortable? Why does silence make the loudest noise? Because your mind confuses safety with danger. If you grew up expecting the worst, your nervous system learned that peace is suspicious, that rest is risky, that good moments are traps. So it warns you, tightens your chest. It replays old memories, scans every room, every face, every message. Not to sabotage you, but to keep you alive. But here's the problem. You're not in danger anymore. Your mind just hasn't updated the map. And this is where the story really begins. The mind doesn't become self-attacking all at once. It happens slowly, quietly, almost politely, like a house that shifts in the night. You don't hear the first crack, but you feel the walls move. Let me show you exactly how it happens. Somewhere in your past, someone taught you that you were the problem. Not directly, not with cruelty, sometimes with silence, sometimes with stress, sometimes with expectations that were too heavy for the age you were. Maybe you learned to read moods before you learned to read words. Maybe you learned to shrink yourself so others could breathe. Maybe you learned that conflict meant danger, and your safest option was always to blame yourself first. So your mind created a rule. If something goes wrong, it must be me. That rule kept you safe. But now it keeps you small. And I want you to understand something crucial. This wasn't your fault. You were a child. You did what children do. You adapted. You survived. But adaptation has a price. You're 12. You hear your parents fighting. You tiptoe in the hallway, heart pounding. Not because you think they'll hurt you, but because you think somehow you caused it. You replay every word you said that day, every mistake, every moment you laughed too loud or stayed too quiet. You take responsibility for a battle you never started. Your mind learned this early. If I'm the cause, then I can fix it. If it's my fault, then I can prevent it next time. That's when your mind first turned you into its project. Its responsibility, its enemy, because the only thing it feared more than being wrong was being powerless. Now let me ask you, visual, pergunta na tila, do you still do this? Do you still take responsibility for things that aren't yours? Do you still scan every room for signs of danger? Do you still prepare for storms that never come? If you do, comment below and just type, I do. You don't have to explain. Just let me know you're here. Let's build a community of people who understand. People think self-blame is self-hatred. It's not. It's control. Your mind would rather believe you are the problem than accept that the world was unpredictable, that people were inconsistent, that love came with conditions, that safety wasn't guaranteed. So it points the finger inward, not because you deserved it, but because it was the only way to make sense of chaos. And once that pattern is learned, your mind repeats it in adulthood. Someone cancels plans? It's my fault. Someone seems distant? I did something wrong. Someone is in a bad mood? Must be because of me. Your mind becomes the detective, the judge, and the executioner, all in the same breath. And here's the part that breaks my heart. You've been doing this for so long, you don't even notice anymore. It's just background noise. The static behind every interaction. The tension beneath every rest. But it doesn't have to be this way. You're older now. You leave a social event. Everyone said they had a great time. They hugged you. They laughed with you. But the second you close your door, your brain begins the interrogation. You replay every sentence, every gesture, every pause. You think you sounded weird. You think you overshared. You think you didn't talk enough. You think you talked too much. You construct an entire argument someone might have with you someday. An argument that will never happen. Why? Because your mind would rather fight an imaginary battle than risk being unprepared for a real one. And every time you do this, you're not protecting yourself. You're exhausting yourself. You're fighting ghosts. This is the part most people never understand. Your mind attacks you to protect you. It criticizes you to keep you ahead of danger. It rehearses worst-case scenarios to prevent surprise, questions your worth, because it thinks humility will keep you safe. It doubts your choices because it fears consequences you once had to carry alone. It turns you into your own opponent, not because it hates you, but because it remembers a version of you that needed defending. But you're not that version anymore. And this is where the healing begins. Before we continue, if you've made it this far, you're exactly where you need to be. Drop a comment right now. Tell me, what's one thing your mind keeps warning you about that isn't actually dangerous anymore? I read every single comment, and I promise you, you're not the only one fighting this. Let's continue. Something shifts right here, in the quiet space between who you were and who you're becoming. Your mind has two voices. You've heard them both your entire life, but most people don't realize it. Let me show you. There is the mind that thinks and the mind that protects. They look the same. They sound the same. Sometimes they even agree, but they have opposite missions. The thinking mind wants exploration, possibility, expansion. It wants who you could become. The protecting mind wants safety, predictability, familiarity. It wants who you used to be, the one it was created to protect. This is why you feel torn, why you hesitate, why you rehearse arguments that never happen, why you collapse after small interactions, why you overprepare for moments that should be simple. These two minds pull you in different directions, one into the future, one into the past, and the tension between them is what you've been calling anxiety. But what if I told you, anxiety isn't the problem? It's the signal that your two minds are finally ready to meet. Picture this. You're alone in your room. There's a small hum in the air, refrigerator, street outside, maybe your own breath. And beneath that, something quieter, a soft static. That static is your protecting mind, scanning the world for danger. You learn to anticipate. It's subtle, like electricity in the walls. Always on, always ready. The problem? It doesn't realize the danger is over. It's still scanning for threats. From a war that ended years ago, your mind still thinks you're the child who had to heavy checkmark monitor every mood. Heavy checkmark fix what wasn't yours. Heavy checkmark shrink to create peace. Heavy checkmark anticipate problems before they existed. Heavy checkmark take responsibility for things that weren't your fault. So it keeps fighting. Even when the war ended years ago, and every false alarm feels like failure, every moment of peace feels suspicious, every compliment feels like a setup, every silence feels dangerous. Your mind isn't attacking you, it's defending you from ghosts. Ghosts of disappointments that haven't happened. Ghosts of rejections that may never come. Ghosts of versions of you that no longer exist. There was a night when you were still young. You remember it clearly. The house was tense. Something felt off. You kept waiting for the storm. The anger, the shouting, the disappointment. Your body braced itself. You prepared every apology, every explanation, every defense. But the storm never came. The next morning, nothing happened. People acted normal, as if the night before didn't exist. But your body remembered. Your nervous system remembered. It learned this. Safety can vanish at any moment. Don't relax. Stay alert. And that lesson stayed with you, even in rooms that were safe, even with people who were gentle, even in moments meant to be peaceful. Your mind kept protecting you from storms that only lived inside you. Here's the truth you've been waiting for. Your mind isn't malfunctioning. It's outdated software running on new hardware. You're older now, stronger now, more capable now, but your protecting mind still thinks. You're the fragile version of you. It was created to defend. It still thinks your survival depends on self-criticism, self-policing, self-doubt. It hasn't realized. You've outgrown the danger. And the moment you understand this, really understand, something cracks open. Not a breakdown, a breakthrough. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What is my mind still trying to protect me from?" And that question changes everything. Because suddenly, you're not fighting yourself anymore. You're understanding yourself. And understanding is the first step toward peace. The moment you stop treating your mind as an opponent, it stops treating you as a threat. The war dissolves. You realize the attacks weren't attacks. They were warnings. The doubt wasn't sabotage. It was fear. The tension wasn't punishment. It was protection. You weren't fighting yourself. You were trying to outrun a younger version of you, who thought danger was everywhere. And for the first time, you don't push them away. You slow down. You listen. You meet them. Imagine this. You're standing in a quiet room. No noise. No expectations. Just a faint light coming from a doorway that's been closed for years. Inside that room sits the younger version of you. They're not angry. They're not broken. They're tired. Exhausted from carrying alarms that were never theirs to hold. You walk toward them slowly. Your footsteps barely make a sound. And when you sit beside them, they finally look up. Not with fear, with relief, because someone finally showed up, who can help them carry what they could never carry alone. You say to them, quietly, gently, "You're safe now. I'm the one who lives here, and I can take it from here." Your younger self doesn't disappear. They rest. Your mind doesn't stop talking. It softens. The alarms don't vanish. They recalibrate. Safety isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of someone who can hold it. And now, that someone is you. You stop trying to fix yourself and start trying to understand yourself. You stop asking your mind to be quiet and start asking it what it's afraid of. You stop trying to be stronger and start trying to be kinder. That shift, from force to compassion, is the beginning of healing. Not dramatic healing, not cinematic healing, real healing, the kind that happens in small moments, when you catch yourself spiraling and pause, when you hear the old criticism and respond with gentleness, when you feel the fear rise and say, "I see you. I've got this." These aren't minor victories. They're revolutions. Your mind didn't turn against you. It stayed loyal to a version of you that no longer exists, but now you're teaching it who you've become. Every small act of courage, speaking softly instead of attacking yourself, resting without guilt, pausing before reacting, listening instead of assuming the worst. These are not minor victories. They're updates, patches, new coding. Your mind is learning, slowly, steadily, faithfully, and the more you show it who you are today, the less it will fear who you used to be. You're not lost. You're becoming, and becoming takes time. If these words found you, maybe it's because you've spent a lifetime fighting a battle that wasn't yours. Maybe you were never broken, just unaccompanied. Maybe you were never behind, just carrying too much. And maybe tonight, for the first time in years, your mind finally realized something simple. You're on the same team. You always were. You just needed to meet each other again. Now here's what I need you to do. If this video helped you see yourself differently, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Hit the bell so you don't miss what comes next. And if you know someone fighting this same war, someone who feels like their mind has become their enemy, share this with them, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let someone know they're not alone. Take a breath, open the next door, and step into the world with a mind that's learning that you're safe. You've got this.